Move over, kids, because today I have a special guest. Actually, I think I'm the special guest with Chris here on his YouTube channel. My name is Move Over Kids. If you're wondering what happened, did Chris shave everything off? No, I'm a totally different person. But Chris is here with me. What's up, Chris? How are you today?
Great, man. How are you?
I am great. Chris is a heavy metal guy, and I am a video game nerd. Chris probably would have beat me up in high school. I don't know.
Probably not. I was a pretty big nerd in high school.
This is what happened, Chris. I was scouring Facebook, and I saw you posted something. Here's this dude in like a flannel, looking like he looks right now, his face with all the hair, and he's like, check out this heavy metal riff of Super Mario, and I'm like, I don't know why. Usually, you just scroll past that stuff, and I decided I'll click on it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then I went to your channel, and this is what got me. The Song of Storms. Oh, baby. If you can see my background, people, I'm a little bit of a Zelda fan, and let's pull it back a little. That's my introduction of Chris. First off, what is your, you don't go by Chris as your heavy metal persona, I guess. What is your actual name? How do you pronounce that?
It's Vetivs.
Vetivs, okay.
Vetivs, yeah.
If I were to meet you on the street, I'd say, hey, Chris, but if I were to meet you after you got off of the stage, I would say, hey, Vetivs?
No, you could really call me Chris or Vetivs. Either one would work. Vetivs is just more like just a stage persona itself. So you could reference me as Vetivs, but you could also reference me as Chris, and either one would be perfectly acceptable.
What is a Vetivs, or what is Vetivs? I don't know. Tell me how that persona came about.
It actually started way back into my childhood, back when I would play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, no. He would not have beat me up, guys. We would have been best friends. I take it back from earlier.
Absolutely. But yeah, so when I would play stuff like that, or just video games where you could enter your character name or whatever, a lot of the times I used this name Vetivs, and it was spelled differently at the time, but it was a name I always used. And then as I got older and as I got more into metal, I started to research philosophy and ancient religions a lot. A lot. I spent many years just reading into it, and I got into ancient Hebrew, and ancient Hebrew has this numerical pattern called gematria. And in gematria, every letter breaks down into numbers, and you could kind of reference numbers or words with other words based on their correlation in number. So at this time in philosophy, a lot of musicians take a persona. A lot of creative people take a persona outside of themselves so they can separate their creative passions with their real world life. So in that process, I kind of did a lot of delving, what should that be for me? And that Vetivs name kept coming up. So I decided to break it down into gematria. And it ends up correlating with numbers that represent freedom from enslavement, from government, religion, and money, which is actually everything that I am about.
You're like old school heavy metal. You're not like this pop heavy metal that we get nowadays. You're Metallica before they cut the hair.
Real metal, real philosophical stuff, like my original metal, very deep lyrics, and it all goes around this name. And I just found it interesting that it's been a name that just came to me as a kid. So that was when I knew that's my name. So I've been Vetivs ever since.
So this was like destiny. Somehow, some way, Vetivs from the future implanted Vetivs from the past. This will be your handle.
It's definitely a Terminator time loop.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started. I've had many of arguments saying that can't happen. So are you still into the philosophies of everything, or are you just it's still in your brain, but you don't have the time because now we're adults?
Basically, yeah. And a lot of the things that I would pick up on philosophy is it's not about you shouldn't spend your life just delving into it. It's about learning from it and then taking that and going into the world with that. If I just sheltered myself and just studied and just did all of that again, I would never have progressed to this point as a musician.
Whoa, that's pretty deep. I'm not going to lie to you. I've actually never heard that. I've never even heard Socrates say that. He was just always like, keep on learning. You're just like, stop learning at some point so you can learn more.
Exactly. Philosophy is going to teach you the theory, but the real world is going to teach you how to practice that theory into something that makes sense.
With all this philosophy behind you, why aren't you writing these emu songs where you're cutting yourself and just listening to the radio with the raindrops? Like, why heavy metal?
Because to me, heavy metal is one of the few art forms that's classical in soul. It's very classically pieced together. There's really no other musical art form that captures what classical music was able to do modern-wise. I mean, video game music does, but it's still classical music in heart, whereas metal is something brand new. And in metal, to me, is about speaking out against the world's wrongs, and that's what metal has always been. So to me, it's the perfect platform to preach my philosophical views of the world through my original music.
When did you pick up the guitar?
I got my first guitar when I was like 12 or 13, but it confused the shit out of me. Like, I was so lost on it.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, I look at those things and I'm like, what the heck? Strings?
I really started getting serious back into it around 16 or 17. Between that time, I did end up becoming a drummer, so I really got into drums really quickly. I got my drum set at like 14, and then I played drums all the way up until about 17 or 18 when I decided, you know what, I really want to learn the guitar because I want to write music. I don't want to just write drums.
Full disclosure, everybody on the Vetivs pages, I don't know like a lot. I've heard he sent me an album which we will talk about and I will actually be reviewing on my channel. I saw in your video you were pretty much playing, it was like one of those videos where you split the screen into 4 and you're playing different parts all at once and timing it so it becomes the full song.
Right.
Explain that process to me. You're playing 4 different parts of the same song at different times. Like, how does that happen? How does that even, like, how do you go about doing that?
Well, basically what I do is the little insides of how I create these video game tracks is I try to get the straight piano sheet music of the song that I'm working on, and with that I could pretty much plug it into my audio program and it breaks it down into all of its notes, so I could kind of see how the song structure is, where the notes are. And then what I do is I generally write 2 to 3 guitar parts for everything in the song, but I make it so one guitar part plays from beginning to end, the second one does the same, so you actually have 3 guitarist parts all playing this song to create all the different moving parts. So in the videos themselves, I record myself playing each part full through. So if there's 3 guitar parts, I do 3 full takes where I play the song from beginning to end full through, and then I basically just edit it all in, so then you see all the different parts that I'm playing at once. I can't obviously play them all at once, but I am playing all of those parts, and I am playing them all the way full through.
So, you're this heavy metal dude, sex, drugs, rock and roll, you know, down with the government, or oppression at least, and then Mario Odyssey. Or Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, how does that jump happen? How do we get to Mario Galaxy? We got this family-friendly plumber on a dinosaur that is like asexual and lays eggs. That's a boy.
That's a long answer in itself, because it was kind of like part of my journey as a musician. I mean, I've always wanted to be a metal musician and write all my own music, because that to me is what I'm here to do, and it's what I do really well. In that process, it's very hard to basically find consistent members to get all of this going, and I've spent the majority of my adult life trying to really get my metal stuff going, and in that process I decided a lot of my passion in music always came from video games. The very first game I played that just captured me was Chrono Trigger, and the reason why was because of that soundtrack. Like that soundtrack. I mean, when you first hear Frog's theme, or when you first hear Magus' theme when you fight him, like those moments like stuck with me. And then I got into Final Fantasy and Nobu Amatsu's work, and then I got into Kingdom Hearts with Yoko Shimomura, and my love for that just stayed strong. And I always had the idea of composing music for video games, so I actually do that on the side as well. I reach out to indie developers and I compose music. I actually have one album. It's called Legends of Arcraft. It's a very small indie RPG game, but it's a full orchestra album. I don't write metal for the video games. I write full orchestra scores.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, I actually have that album available on my Bandcamp as well, so people can check out like the type of original orchestra music that I write for video games. So I do have a drummer for my actual whole project, and my Vetivs project is multiple things. You could basically take it as three things now. It is an original metal band where I also compose music for video games.
Okay.
But I also do covers of video game tracks. And the reason why I do so much is because this day and age is extremely hard for a band or just a musician to get out there and to grab a fan base. So I decided to merge the things that I know well, and that's video game music and metal. And, you know, I see a lot of cover artists doing it and stuff like that. And most cover artists, when they cover something, they're basically just taking the song and playing the melody on guitar and then adding some double bass on the kick drums, and they're calling it metal. But to me, like, a lot of these covers miss what metal is, and that is like the rhythmic aspect and how epic metal can be. So I thought, why not do that, and why not see what I can do with it? And I got to give a shout out to my good friend Nate Miller. He plays the Arhu, and he kind of got me into thinking about doing this. We did a collab together, and ever since then I was like, you know what, this is something I am going to do on the side. And going forward, I've decided that to merge my original stuff with this, so when I play live shows, I'll be playing, 90% original content, but I'm always going to play some video game covers live too, so people can actually experience that in a live setting with real drums. And
heck yeah, man!
Awesome.
What about Zelda? What's the most metal Zelda song you got?
It would definitely be Song of Storms.
That was so cool.
It has some definite underground metal techniques, a lot of black metal influences in there, and yeah, definitely.
I don't know metal that much. What's black metal compared to regular metal?
All these subgenres, I mean, honestly, they get a
Your fans are going to be like, why'd you get this guy to interview? You don't know what black metal is?
Well, luckily, most of my fans aren't even like hardcore metalheads, because
thank God. Come to my channel, MoveOverKids.
I would like to think I've actually turned a lot of fans towards metal, because through the video game tracks, they've actually become more interested in what metal can do, because most people, when they think of metal, they think of screaming, loud noise, and that's it. But
yeah, I definitely don't think Mario.
A lot of people will determine the type of metal based on like the lyrics or like the feeling of it, but to me, it's more like the style of guitar playing. So, and that's what I try to focus on most, is melody. To me, melody needs to be above everything else. If there's no melodic structure, it's technically not even a song. Modern day music is it's hard to get out there, and you kind of have to have something unique about you to really stand out, because otherwise you're just another metal band or another musician doing the same thing every day.
Amen, brother. I mean, I'm just another YouTuber in the sea of people who think they can put a camera on themselves, and then you have to find that fine line of modesty, but also putting yourself out there. One of those people, I'm sure everybody says it. It's kind of like that. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I don't like just one genre of music. I like all genres. And, so I'll be that guy. I'll kind of say that, but I'm definitely not really listening to heavy metal. And I really liked your stuff. My actual favorite era of music, and I'm 38, so this is before my time, but like the classic rock, The Doors. The Doors are my absolute favorite band of all time, and your stuff really caught me, and I did click because it said Heavy Metal Super Mario, but it interested me enough to then check out your other stuff. You actually sent me, full disclosure, he sent me a copy of his his album, and I got it for free, so, maybe I'm going to just lie because I got something for free, but I'm not. It's just not worth it to me. I love the selection. If you are a nerd, and if you're watching this from my channel, you are, just admit it, and you will like the music he picked, because he didn't just grab stuff from Call of Duty. I don't even think Call of Duty was on there. All right, he went Chrono Trigger, he went Final Fantasy, Ocarina of Time, Mario Galaxy. Even though that's the one Mario Galaxy is the one that I've been kind of picking on you about, because it's so family friendly. But no, in reality, you really went with a lot of the soundtracks that are the epics, the orchestras of music. When people say this soundtrack was awesome, this is one of the best soundtracks of all time, likelihood you covered one of those.
The album that I just did was I called it my inspiration album, because every song on there inspired me growing up in one way, shape, or form. And probably the newest one on there is Super Mario Galaxy. And I was well into adulthood when I played Super Mario Galaxy, but that Gusty Wind Galaxy, when that played in that game, it just touched me, man. It touched me. Like, it was so good. And I've always not liked Mario music. I thought Mario music was so basic and just blah. And I remember my friend saying, play Galaxy, man. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Mario fan. I love Mario. I've played them all. But I've never been into their music. It's not like Zelda music or Final Fantasy where it's like captivating,
That's fair.
But then Galaxy changed it all with the Super Mario Orchestra. It changed it all, and from that point on, like, Mario stepped up their game in the soundtrack world, and to me, I needed to show homage to that.
That's awesome. Before we go any further, I know some people out there might be a little upset at that Mario thing. I mean, Mario's music is iconic and stuff, but you gotta admit, you put it against Zelda, Mario music kind of sounds like a jingle for a commercial, and I think it was supposed to be. Mario games are very simplistic. I mean, if I can remember it, it's pretty much simplistic. I am not some musical person, and so I do see what you're saying. Chris, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Give me like a minute of something to say so we can kind of close out the interview.
Thanks for everyone that's pretty much been supporting me this whole time. I've grown exponentially in the past 3 months, and the majority of it is all due to the fan base that's constantly sharing my stuff, liking my stuff, buying the album, and basically just supporting me. So got a lot of cool content coming up. I have live shows planned. The drummer's almost ready, so we're going to be starting to hit the stage with my original stuff. And that's one thing I did want to plug really quick. A lot of people don't know is I do my all original metal music. I have 2 singles up right now. Both of them are on my YouTube and my Facebook, and both of them are available for purchase. So if you're interested in the type of original metal music I write, check it out. On those songs, I did everything. So all the vocals, all the guitar, everything I did. So make sure to check that out, and also check out my original video game soundtrack. It's all orchestra, but it gives you kind of a cool look at the type of video game music I could write.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. And just to clarify, you don't really, you're not making enough money off this. This is not your day job, correct?
Correct.
Hint, people. All right? Hint. There you have it, everyone. Vetivs. This is his channel, but this is how I usually end my channels on MoveOverKids. Again, you can go watch it. Just type in MoveOverKids. Maybe Vetivs will put a link below. But if I seemed like a jerk, well, I don't know. Deal with it. But seriously, you should go check out his music. And if you are able, dude, he can't really tell you to go buy his stuff because he's too nice of a guy. Artist, we're not allowed to do that. But other artists are allowed to. So you should really go and check it out and maybe throw $1 or $2 and get a good song in your iTunes queue, because wow, his stuff was rocking. And you don't have to be a heavy metal fan to enjoy it, because I'm definitely not, and I did enjoy it. I showed it to a couple people, and they're like, it's good. I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, it's good. So, there you have it, everyone. It is dangerous to go alone. Please share this video with a friend, this channel with a friend. Tell people about Vetivs. If you are inclined, tell people about MoveOverKids as well. But seriously, Vetivs, he rocks. I don't know. Am I allowed to say he rocks for heavy metal? Well, I am. So, have a great day, everyone.